Today, I'm going to be cooking the 5 most unknown steak cuts. Beef oxtail, picana, flat iron, liver, and one secret cut that's my family's personal favorite, and I'll save that till the end. You won't want to miss it, so stick around. I'm excited to cook 5 different butcher cut, cheap, inexpensive dishes for you guys today and show you some cuts that you may have never seen before and how to prepare them. I'm going to grab all of the beef and then I'm going to go into the CoolBot and grab all the vegetables that we need that have come straight out of the garden just over the past week. I have the benefit to have a freezer full of beef all the time here in the barn that we get from an amazing butcher. And normally what I do is I sell the really expensive cuts and then I keep and cook for my family some of the cuts that people don't buy for me. One of those is oxtail. So I'm gonna cook oxtail today. All of these take different cooking techniques. So some are gonna be braised, I'm gonna sous vide some of the steaks, I'm gonna grill some, I'm going to boil one, and I'm gonna make pate with our beef liver. Beef liver is actually something that very little people buy for me, but it's very nutritious and it's gonna be really incredible. And it cooks really fast. I'm also grabbing a picanha steak. A picanha steak is gonna be the most expensive of the cuts that I have. I'm gonna cook this in sous vide. The steak that I'm gonna be grilling is a flat iron steak. These are really good. A lot of people don't know them because you don't see them in the grocery store, but they're pretty inexpensive and an amazing flavor. And the 5th one is one that I've actually never sold, but my family eats it every time we get a cow. It's absolutely amazing, and I'm going to shock you with how good this is. Let me know what you think it is in the comments. At the end, I'm gonna show you this incredible cut, how we cook it, and exactly what it tastes like. All right, so we got our beef all ready, and I've got some garlic and onions from our dry storage. And now I'm gonna head over to the CoolBot and just kind of see what we harvested this week and see what I can use in these dishes. We are jam-packed with produce right now, but I've got some amazing stuff in here for today. I've got carrots, I've got celery, I've got some herbs that I'm gonna grab. All right, got everything I need. I'm gonna head to the kitchen and get cooking. All right, I'm back here, I'm all cleaned up, and it's time to get started on prepping for our meals. I love to get everything set up first. So I'm gonna wash my produce, I'm gonna get it all ready. I've got my pot set up, I've got my salt and pepper, I got my olive oil, I've got all the equipment that I need before I get started. That way, I can just focus and get it done, and then I can start using heat. So you're probably used to getting your carrots from the supermarket like this, without the tops on them. I'm not gonna be using the tops for most of these dishes, but I do have a bowl over here where we'll save everything that we can use in a stock in the future, but I will use some of the tops in our boiled dish, our surprise dish. The celery that you get from the grocery store looks exactly like what I have right here. I'm just gonna cut the ends off again. I'm gonna keep the ends because I'm gonna use it in our stock. Celery's got like dirt all through the inside of it. So when I cut this off, I'm gonna rinse it again because you can see, if you look in here, you can see all this dirt down at the base. The base is where the majority of the dirt lives. So I'm gonna clean that out before I use it. So anytime I'm cutting up garlic, I'm taking it and the flat edge of my knife, I'm smashing it. And I wanna smash it down pretty hard. And depending on what I'm using it for will determine kind of how hard I break it up. So I'm just taking the skins off so then I can just chop these all together. If you can find a local farm that's growing garlic and you can buy it there, stock up on that because it lasts for a very long time. I did an amazing video on garlic. If you want to check it out, we'll put it in the description. These onions came out of our garden yesterday. I always save onions for the end because I am horrible. Like I cry uncontrollably when I cut onions. I've tried everything, like everything that everybody says, including keeping this end on right here in the root. You've probably heard that. It does not work for me. I cry like a baby. So what I found has worked for me the best is this. So I'm gonna put these goggles on and I'm gonna cut these onions comfortably while not crying. Sucked into my eyes. Oh my gosh, I should have not opened up those goggles. I am crying inside the goggles because I opened them up. I mean, I have goggles on and I'm crying. I just literally for 1 second, I just lifted them up. I got all the onion stuff in there and then closed them in. Oh my gosh. I need a break. All right, I'm getting the oxtail started right here. I'm gonna season it, salt, pepper, and then I'm gonna sear it. Nice generous salt and pepper on it. I'm gonna do this side, and I'm gonna toss it in the Instapot. Just a little bit of olive oil in there. Take each one of these pieces. You should hear a big sizzle. I should have enough space for this amount of oxtail. You don't want to overcrowd it. Season the other side. I'll sear both sides and then I'm gonna take it out. All right, I've seared the oxtail and I've taken that out. And now I put in some more olive oil and then garlic and onions. So I'm just gonna saute the onions until they're translucent. And then I'm gonna put in the carrots and the celery. I've also seasoned the onions with salt and pepper again. You always wanna season your food. So anytime you put something new in, especially aromatics like this, the mirepoix, season it with salt and pepper. All right, I got the carrots and the celery is cooking down. And my helper James showed up to help me. So I also put some tomato paste in there. Next, I'm gonna deglaze the pan. So the bottom of the pan has got all the brown bits from... You can help me? Okay, you can pour it in. You go ahead and pour it in. So this is Lucy's homemade beef stock. So James is pouring that in, and you wanna get that up to a boil, and you wanna scrape the bottom of the pan out. You can help me. Here you go, pour that one in. And this is really well seasoned beef stock, so I don't need to put any more salt and pepper in there. I'm just gonna scrape up all the stuff at the bottom. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Here, pour this one in. Pour that one in. There we go, nice job. All right, we make sure all the oxtail's gone back in. We wanna make sure it's all underneath the water. So when you're gonna braise something, you wanna make sure that all of the meat that you're braising is underneath there. I'm gonna put the lid on the Instapot. So I've got it on for 40 minutes on normal, high pressure. And it'll cook like that, and then I'll probably let it come down from pressure for about 30 minutes. So about an hour and 15 minutes, this will be ready. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm just taking the oxtail out of the sauce. I'm going to reduce the sauce so it's a really nice sauce for over top the oxtail. And you can see right here, I'll let this sit for a little bit, but the fat's coming to the top. When I pull this stopper out, this plunger out, it's gonna be able for me to pour this into the saucepan to allow this to reduce and thicken up for our sauce. So I'm gonna bring this up to a boil now and just let it reduce and thicken up so our sauce is really strong, powerful, and nice. I love cooking steaks using a sous vide method. So what that is a water bath that keeps a constant temperature. You can actually cook a steak better than your favorite restaurant. I'm gonna set that up right now, and we're gonna cook the picana steak in the sous vide machine. Between 129 and 134 is like medium rare, so I'm gonna set this at 132 degrees. So now I'm gonna move on to seasoning my steak. So this picana steak is done. It's completely cooked, perfectly cooked. So I don't want to overcook it. I'm just gonna sear it on both sides and kind of lock in the flavor, and we'll be ready to eat. So as I'm searing the other one, I'm gonna cut into this one, and you can see the cook that we got from the sous vide. So this is unseared steak, but perfectly medium rare. Look at that. All right, now moving on to the liver. I'm gonna make liver pate. Really, really simple recipe. All we need is garlic, onions, salt, pepper, the liver, and some butter. I've got this amazing raw butter. So our cheese vendor also makes raw butter. So he gave this to me, so I'm gonna use this butter. I've been soaking the liver in milk for the last hour, and I'm going to set it up. We're gonna saute all of that, and then we're gonna put it in the blender and blend it down into pate. So now I'm gonna rinse it, dry it off, and then I'm gonna cut it up into smaller pieces and chunks so that I can saute it. All right, the first thing I did was get my raw butter in the pan, melt that down. You don't wanna cook that too much. And then I put the garlic and onions in there, just kind of sauteed them a little bit for a couple minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes. And then I just dropped the livers in. And right now what I'm doing is I'm cooking them down. I'm making sure they're in constant contact, direct contact with the pan, because I don't wanna overcook these livers. I want them to be cooked through, but not overcooked. It'll cook pretty fast. Some of the thinner ones will cook quickly, and I'm just constantly just kind of turning them over and making sure that all the red raw bits are in contact with the pan. I'd say 3-4 minutes, these will be done. I'll add some more butter, and then I'll put it all into my Vitamix and process them down into a really smooth, creamy pate. If it gets too thick, I'll add some more melted butter. All right, it's time to check them. And what I'm looking for is no real red in the middle. Maybe it might be a little, that's perfect right there. Might be a little bit of redness, but pretty much all browned through. This is ready. It's going in. All right, the beef liver pate is finished. You can see it might look a little thick, but this is the consistency that you're looking for. I could probably thin it out slightly, but this smooth, it's just gonna be spread on top some bread or cracker or something like that. And this is what you're looking for, is this kind of consistency. This only took about 10 minutes probably from start to finish if you don't include soaking the liver in milk. So this is ready. I'm gonna set it aside and finish up the rest of the dishes. All right, next is a flat iron steak. So this is a really great steak. It's thin, so it's gonna cook relatively quickly. So I'm just gonna take it out. Again, just like the picana, I'm gonna dry it off and I'm gonna season it, salt and pepper. I would love to do it on the grill, and most of you probably grill it outside. Same with finishing the picana, but since I'm inside the kitchen and I've been working here all day, I think it's perfect to try out the cast iron skillet technique right on top of the stove. All right, I got butter and garlic here. And I'm going straight in with my flat iron steak. I got my pan nice and hot, and I just cranked the heat back up to high because the steak is gonna reduce the temperature of your pan. I've got garlic and I've got butter in there. As I cook, I can baste with the butter over top. I'm gonna give it about 3 minutes on that side, 3 minutes on the other side. It's a thin steak, so I'm just gonna see how it reacts. All right, I need that plate. All right, we're done with all 5 composed dishes. So we have the braised beef oxtail right here. We have the sous vide picanha steak. We have the grilled flat iron. It was grilled on my cast iron skillet here in the house. I have the beef liver pate, and I have our secret dish, which I'll reveal just here in a minute. This is my friend Emma. We are going to dive in and eat this, and we're gonna rank them. We're gonna rank them 1 through 5 and have some fun. So Emma, which one do you wanna eat first?
I'm tempted to do the pate first just because it smells the worst and I wanna get it over with.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the pate. I have to say, if I'm critiquing myself, this is probably the worst presentation of all 5. It's pate on crackers. I didn't have any crostini. I was a little bit behind, and I planned on making liver and bacon pie, but at the last minute I changed it to beef liver pate because it was easy and quick. And
do I have to eat the whole thing?
Well, you might really like it. So why don't we see? You can do whatever you want to do.
All
So,
right.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Honestly, the cracker helps, I think.
Don't like it? Maybe if I had some tomatoes with a little olive oil and some like chiffonata basil, something like that with this layered in, it would have been a lot better. This is pretty strong on the palate, so.
Some other like flavors mixed in probably would help a little bit.
You ready to move on? Do you want to finish it?
No, I don't want to finish it.
Okay. What are you going to pick next?
Let's do this guy.
Okay, so this is a beef oxtail, so the tail of the cow. So what you want to do here is you want to just pull off the meat here and grab some pieces of that. I'm going to grab a larger piece myself.
Can I just go at it with my hands? Or?
You can, yeah, you can use your hands for sure.
I feel like that's easier.
If you're unrefined.
I am.
So there's some collagen in there and things like that. You can eat it, but it's a little fatty. So I'm just going to pour some of this reduced sauce over top. There you go. Do the same for me. And let's eat.
Okay.
Have you ever had this before? Oxtail?
It was good.
It's got to be pretty good when we want to just keep eating. And I'm like, I'm just going to finish this whole piece. Better or worse than the pate?
Better.
Okay. All right. Oxtail, good. Pate,
Bad.
bad. Okay. So, where do you want to go next?
Let's do this one.
Okay. This is a flat iron. It was cooked on the cast iron skillet. Basically grilled, but not on an outside barbecue because we were inside. What do you think?
It tastes more like a regular steak that you would get at like a restaurant, like compared to these two, which I mean.
Compared to what you had. Yeah, it is. I mean, a flat iron steak is really a steak that you don't want to overcook. You want to cook it to like a medium rare. I think it's really good. Yeah, it tastes like a steak at the steakhouse. However, it's not the same price at a steak at the steakhouse.
Really?
So it's a cheaper butcher type cut. I believe we sell this for $10 a pound here. A New York strip goes for $18 a pound. A filet goes for $28 a pound. And a ribeye at our place goes for $20 a pound. It's about a third of what a filet would cost and half of what a ribeye costs. Really, really great steak. I would prefer to do that on a grill outside where I can control the temperature and I keep a watch on it. I feel like the cast iron skillet got too hot. It started smoking, smoked out the house. All right, I need that plate.
You're about to sell the smoke alarm.
I know, but nobody will be here, so I don't care. Where do you want to go next?
This guy.
Okay, the Picanha Steak. This is a Brazilian cut of steak. It's got a fat cap on the outside and we sous vide this. So it should be perfectly cooked in the middle and then we finished it on the cast iron. So if you look at the inside of that steak, perfect medium rare, right there. I'm excited about this. Oh man, it is like really tender, I can tell. It almost like reminds me of a filet. Just the look of it, the thickness of it.
I don't think I've ever had a sous vide.
Never had sous vide?
Not that I can think of.
So I got the sous vide machine about a year ago and I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can cook a perfect steak every single time and you can just set it and forget it, not screw it up.
I think I like that one better than that one.
Yeah, I do too. It's like more buttery, I feel like. Like a lot more tender, where the other one had a little bit more of a chew. This one kind of like melts in your mouth. This is fantastic. You gonna finish this one? So this is gonna be more expensive than the flat iron, and this is our most expensive cut that we have on the table. You're probably finding it somewhere around $16 to $18 a pound. So it's still one of the more premium cuts, but the cool thing is you don't pay for a lot of the fat. Like ribeye, there's fat. Sometimes you have bone in a T-bone, things like that. New York strip has a lot of fat in it. This is just a small fat cap, but a lot of times you'll eat portions of that. So you're really paying for, by weight, a lot more meat and steak, which is really cool. So last but not least, we have the mystery dish. Let's eat it and then we'll reveal what it is. Go ahead and grab yourself a taco. We got avocado and we have some raw sweet onion on there as well.
You made these tortillas?
I made the tortillas too. So the tortillas are corn tortillas and homemade corn tortillas. It was an instant masa. The onion will give it a little crunch. The avocado will give it some richness and smoothness. And the taco meat itself should be really smooth and buttery. So let's see what you think.
That's amazing.
Good?
Yeah, it's really good.
The homemade tortillas always make it. Like, this is not the same. I feel like I could use a little bit of salt, but that's a really good taco.
That is really good. I like the spicy salsa.
My kids eat these tacos all the time. My wife makes them for our family. And they ask for more and more and more every single time we have it. It's so good.
Do they know what it is?
Do you know what it is? Do you want to know what it is?
Don't know, maybe.
Do you want to know what it is?
A little frightened.
It is shredded beef tongue. So this is the beef tongue, and we took all the inside of the meat and just shredded it up. So it's perfectly edible, really nice beef. Just happens to come out of the tongue of the cow.
That is not what I thought
Yeah.
tongue would taste like. Or
Yep. Me neither.
I assumed it to be rubbery.
Are you gonna keep eating it?
Yeah, I am gonna keep
All right.
eating it.
All right. There you go. Me too. I'm gonna take one more bite and then let's rank them out. Okay.
Okay.
We'll rank them 1 to 5. Let's start at the bottom while you eat that beef tongue.
I wish you wouldn't say it.
And you cannot change your tongue vote.
Okay.
What is the worst dish on the table? That one by far.
Yes.
Would you order the other 4 on the menu?
I would.
So if it was at
Yeah.
a restaurant, you would order the other 4.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't order the tongue taco
Just reading it on the
if
menu.
you read it
I'd
on
be
the
like,
menu,
no,
right?
No, thanks.
What about the next one? What's number 4 for you?
Probably this one.
Okay, the flat iron steak?
Yeah, I think it was good, but compared to these two, the flavor isn't quite matching up, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because the flavor of these, I mean, it's just a lot more interesting.
I agree. Usually like the side dishes and things like that make it, and a little bit of salt would have been good, but it's a great flavor steak.
Yeah.
I love it. For me, all 4 of these are really tough. So this is really hard. What about number 3?
Honestly,
You're bringing the beef tongue down because you know what it is now.
maybe.
Obviously, these 3 are pretty tough for you to
Yeah.
kind of rank out.
Yeah. I think I could say this one's probably my favorite.
Favorite. Picana's
Yeah.
the favorite, and then maybe a close second and third here.
Yeah.
I really think these are all close. Like any of these dishes I would love. So what my job is now is to figure out how I make other liver items. Can you believe that I made all this?
No.
Yeah. Who would have
A
known?
lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but also I just used ingredients from the farm. So we're gonna go to the tongue now. Stick around for that so you can see everything from start to finish for our 5th secret dish.
Right here, I got a 2.5 pound beef tongue. You might be thinking, this is disgusting. Why would I eat this? And at this point, I usually am thinking the same thing, especially when I pull it out and I see like the actual tongue and the bumps of the beef tongue. There's one of these, obviously, that comes out of each cow. I don't like to waste it. Like I said, I don't like to waste anything. There's some really amazing meat in here, and once you prepare it properly, it's incredible. The first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a pot of water. So this is my Le Creuset. I'm getting enough water in there that my beef tongue is gonna be submerged in there, and then I'm gonna put in some aromatics. I have some sliced onions. They're gonna go in next, and I'm gonna turn the temperature on for this. I'm gonna get it going up to high right now because I want to get it to a boil. I'm gonna hit it with salt, and I'm pretty liberal with the salt in this dish, and really any dish that I do. I'm gonna get some big peppercorns. I wish I had these from the farm. This comes from a place that you might have heard of called Costco. Fill the top with some peppercorns. The recipe didn't call for it, but I've got all of this celery tops. So I'm gonna put them in because again, we're not gonna use or eat this stock, but it's gonna be really nice for the aromatics. And then I'm also gonna use some of these carrot tops. It's gonna give a nice carrot flavor. I'm gonna pop some of those in there, basically like I'm making beef stock or chicken stock, you know? The other thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a bunch of garlic cloves, a whole head of garlic. I'm gonna throw in all the cloves. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this to a boil, and then I'm gonna reduce the temperature to a simmer for about 3 hours. And I'm just gonna let it slow cook and simmer on the stove for 3 hours. You could do this in a pressure cooker, you could do it in an Instapot, but this is how we've always done it. My wife makes these on a regular basis. Our kids love them. They might not know that they're beef tongue, but they eat like 3 or 4 each, and they absolutely love them. I'm just gonna smash these up. I'm gonna take the skins off and just drop them in. I don't need to spend any time dicing these up. That one was a little aggressive. I'm just gonna pop the whole garlic clove right in the water. All right, I got everything in my Dutch oven. I use a Le Creuset. You guys can use whatever you have at home. I love the Dutch oven for this. It keeps temperature really hot. So I'm gonna bring this up to a boil right now. It's on high. Then I'm gonna reduce the temperature to low, and I'm gonna cover it for 3 hours. Little bonus dish we're gonna make here is homemade corn tortillas for you to see. Instant corn masa and water. It's that simple. You mix it together. We have a tortilla press here. So we'll put it in the tortilla press once it's ready, and it's incredibly simple to make, but tastes amazing. So now I'm just weighing out about 1 ounce, rolled into a ball, and then you just put your parchment paper on and press it. There you go. Corn tortilla ready to cook. I got my cast iron really hot, and I'm just gonna drop these tortillas on here for 1 minute each side. All right, the beef tongue is done. It's been 3 hours. So now what I'm gonna do is I gotta take the tongue out, and I gotta get the membrane off the outside of the tongue and then start shredding it down. It's easiest to get that membrane off the outside of the tongue when it's hot. So I'm gonna do that right now.